succeed. Gonna succeed.
Can you believe it?
Y'all did it!
KBLA Talk 1580 is about to celebrate its second anniversary on Juneteenth, and no terrible twos around here. We couldn't be more excited about all the good news we'll be announcing soon, including the launch of some new shows to keep giving you more of what you've been looking for.
Come on!
Smart radio for smart people. Hey, it's our celebration, but you get all the gifts. We'll be giving away fresh merch, swag bags, and a chance for you to join the private invitation-only, star-studded music and dance till you drop, food and drink galore second anniversary celebration. To stay in the know about the second anniversary details, download the KBLA Talk 1580 app right now. Don't miss out on your chance to be a winner. At KBLA Talk 1580, when we come forward, we're bringing everybody with us.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Come on.
Listen.
Let's go.
I just wanna see if you gon' lie, you gon' love me. I was getting bras way before I got the money. Honey, since I've been a star, they don't love me. The ceiling got stars when the star got no ceiling. Stick it out, poke it out, stick it out, poke it out. Yeah, she got a little butt, so what? Big bag, she can show enough. Stick it out, poke it out, yeah, stick it out, poke it out. My regards to the bras that thought I was done. Pick a side, and die in a jump. I've been letting things slide, they trying too hard. Cause I ain't left the city once, still travel abroad. I'm back on my bar. The stick in the Honda Civic, we in the car service. I really just mind my business and pray that God sort them. Can't really be long-winded, you talking short money today, we not cost cutting. Can you stick it out? Told me she was quarantining, brand new out. And there might be a couple weeks to make them bounce. So I mean it when I be like, what's the turn around? No, really, turn around. Okay, I just wanna see if you gon' lie, you gon' love me. I was getting bras way before I got the money. Honey, since I've been a star, they don't love me. The ceiling got stars when the star got no ceiling. Stick it out, poke it out.
Checking out the Danny Morrison Show.
Poke it out.
KBLA Talk
Yeah,
1580.
she got a little butt,
Make sure you hit that like on our YouTube feed right now. A bunch of people in there right now. We appreciate you chiming in on the Danny Mo Show for your Monday night. And we got a great conversation in store for you right now. You've heard many of my post one-on-one interviews on my show with people that I feel have their fingers on the pulse of Black America. And tonight, you get another boost to Black brilliance and excellence. Interviews with people that I feel that you need to know. Her comedy is just like she is. Healthy balance of joy, optimism, and rage. In 2020, she headlined 50 colleges for the virtual Their Comedy Tour, featured on CNBC, Fox, ABC, and iHeartRadio. A headliner at comedy clubs, festivals, and colleges, including Vanderbilt, Stanford, and the College of William and Mary. She keeps people on their toes with jokes and insights that combine her life experiences with observations on race, politics, class, and gender. She is hopeful for a better future and furious enough to fight for it. Through her volunteer work and advocacy, she raises awareness about policy issues that affect marginalized populations, focusing on the BIPOC and LGBTQ communities. And to give you all an hors d'oeuvre on the greatness of this thought leader, here's a little taste of how she gets down with her key to surviving effery that she posted a couple weeks ago. Listen.
7 a.m. on the West Coast, 10 a.m. on the East Coast. I have not checked the news. I haven't even taken my phone off the airplane mode. I've been doing that for the last 3 years, at least. So I don't know what emails are in my inbox. I don't know what text messages are waiting. And I'm sitting in front of the ocean, meditating, journaling. It's the only way I can stay sane. The brief period of time where I was checking everything starting at 6 a.m. and it was like, oh, 6 a.m., everybody's problems, the world's problems, your coworkers' problems, all in the inbox. Not a good way to start the day. Put your phone on airplane mode.
I wish I could do that every single day. And now you see why I love me some Maya May. And tonight, she descends into the Danny Mo Show to share her thoughts on the most important topics of the day, including Jim Brown and Ron DeSantis, a Republican councilman with a crack pipe, two-pay fiasco, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, inside my Post 101, coming back to the Danny Mo Show, comedian, political commentator, Maya May.
Hello, 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 hello.
What's that, Queen? You're so used to that applause. I bet when you come out, you give the applause. How about, do you let the...
I want to come out dancing. You had my jam on earlier. I was like, oh, we're supposed to be serious, but you got Wale out. That's my jam.
Which song was your jam? Which one?
The Wale song that you just played. Just in one segment.
So you played that for her, Andy? Oh, he didn't even know.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't know. That's my jam. He didn't know. That's why I'm like, oh, okay. See, I don't want to get serious. I want to dance. That's the only way we're going to get through.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll keep it light for a second here. We were having a conversation about the top 50 hip-hop artists of all time. I don't know if you saw that Billboard and Vibe list that came out a few weeks ago. And Wale was not on the list. Do you think that Wale is one of the top 50 artists of all time?
No, I was going to say, I'm like, I love to jam to him, but I'm not going to put him in the top 50. No, not by any means. Not even close.
Wow.
No. Like, he's got, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
No,
I missed yeah.
It's about your opinion. I can't tell you who you think is amazing. I mean, I don't know if I'll give you the top 5 real fast. Number 1 was Jay-Z. Number 2 was Kendrick Lamar. Number 3 was, come on, Andy, help me out. Number 3 was Nas. Number 4 was Eminem. No, number 4 was Pac, and number 5 was Eminem.
Wait, who did they have at number 1?
Jay-Z. Do you disagree with that?
I love Jay-Z. Love Jay-Z. I just wouldn't put him at number 1. But that's just I love him for his totality, who he is as a social justice advocate, who he is as a businessman and a philanthropist and an entrepreneur and a musician and a producer. So, like, if you're going to look at him in his totality, like the holistic, what is and who is Jay-Z, then yes, number 1. But solely, purely as a lyricist?
Who's number 1?
Oh, I feel like people were probably already yelling at people in the comments over this. And I'm like, I'm more comfortable telling you about how much I hate Tim Scott than I am in stating my opinion on.
Who apparently is running for president now. He ain't got a chance in hell, but who knows?
It's like, I know we're going to get into it, so I'll let you guide us into this, because, not a chance of hell.
Yeah, but you can't skirt that answer. We want an answer. Who would be your number 1 rapper of all time? Forget all the other accolades and everything and skill set that you were talking about with Jay-Z. Lyricism only. Who would be your number 1? I ain't going to hold you to it.
It's Kendrick. It's Kendrick. It's Kendrick for me. It's Kendrick.
Okay. You can make the case. Andy got a crazy look on his face. You can make the case that Kendrick, he was number 2, so obviously there's a number of people that feel that he should be pretty high up there. I thought there's no way Kendrick is number 2. I think Kendrick you could put at 5 or 6. You'd have been all right. I don't see how you have Kendrick above M at this point.
Because to me, a good piece of writing, a good lyric is a lyric that changes you, that you come out as a different person. To me, that's like the mark of a good piece of literature. And so to me, Kendrick is more than just a lyricist. He's more than just a hip-hop artist. He's somebody who, when he creates something, it shifts consciousness, and Eminem just doesn't do that for me. I love Eminem as a lyricist. Like, if you just, like, want to look at just his words, like, oh, yeah, great. He's got good bars. But as far as, like, shifting a narrative, a consciousness, no. Sorry.
Some say that last Hot Steppers album, is that what it's called? The Hot Steppers, whatever, was his worst album yet. Yeah. Do you think so?
No, I love it. I listen to it religiously, like faithfully, religiously, nonstop.
Wow.
All the time.
You are a fan. That's probably what you were bumping out there when you were on the beach. By the way, how did you manage to get to the point where you were? That clip we just played, by the way, everybody. She is literally on the beach with the water in the background. How do you get to the point, as busy as you are, you're also a mom as well, to where you can shut everything off and go out to the beach and just silence everything? How do you get to that point? I need it.
Because I look at things as there's a huge difference between urgency and emergency, and this idea that people need to be accessible every single minute of the day. Not with everything that's going on in this 24/7 news cycle. If you don't create space, if you don't carve out time for yourself, you're not going to be able to be responsive. You're not going to be able to be proactive. And so for me, I'm much more effective when I create that time for myself and I don't let anybody step on that time. So airplane mode. I don't care what in the world is going on. Wow. Airplane mode.
Wow. I may take that from you. We're talking to Maya May, political commentator and comedian, Danny Morrison Show. KBLA Talk 1580 inside my Post 101. You know, I didn't ask you last time, how long you been in this comedy game? Because you are hilarious.
Aw, you're so sweet. Thank you. Going on 10 years.
10 years? I didn't know you were doing it for that long. You're a seasoned pro for sure. Do you write all your own material?
Of course I do. It's like, who is writing my own?
What do you mean?
No,
I'm just asking.
material.
You know comedians ain't writing their own material these days. Come on now.
No, I have to because I came to comedy late in the game. I was older when I started, and so I'm coming from, most of my jokes are my own personal experience layered over issues of race, class, gender, intersectionality, and so it's coming from a very personal place because I was a poet before I was a comic.
Yeah, I can see
and
it.
So for me, comedy in a way is poetry, but like in a different form, like a transformative form for me. So it has to come from me because it wouldn't ring true if somebody else. It just wouldn't have the same kind of feel if somebody else wrote. You would almost be able to tell.
This is off
That
top.
being said, if ChatGPT can start writing jokes for me, I'll do that too.
Hey, you should be a ghostwriter for some of these comedians because there's some terrible comedians out there right now. Absolutely awful.
Also not commenting on that.
Yeah.
That I definitely won't come on.
Absolutely awful. I want to give you another compliment. It's off topic and on a side note here. Thank you for being one of the queens out there that has been rocking her natural hair too.
Always.
Always?
Always. I've had my hair natural other than a short little stint since 2003 or 2004.
Why'd you make the change?
I think originally it was I just wanted to feel free. Like I just wanted to feel free, so I actually shaved it. I shaved it all off, and it just felt free. Like as a busy person, as a busy human, I was like, this is a way to just kind of let it go. My grandmother wasn't happy about it. She was like, "Why'd you cut all your hair off?"
You use the word shave. You mean you shaved it bald? Off?
Off, like buzz,
God.
like off.
Wow.
I was just like, I just needed that feeling of feeling free, and it was amazing. Like I do it now, to be honest with you. It's just I also love my hair so much, so I'm like, it's my bane. It's like my, like the whole Samson and Delilah thing. I'm like, I don't want to drop my hair, but yeah, to me, it's just me. It's who I am, and like to straighten it, and I'm just like, why would I do that? Like as much as we have going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in vogue now to wear your natural hair, but you were ahead of the game. If you're telling me in the early 2000s, you were way ahead of the game. I love the fact that we're finally starting to realize who we are, and we don't have to conform what society tells us we're supposed to be.
Absolutely not. Not with everything they put us through. And that's the thing. It's like we could try to conform in every single type of way, and they're still not going to give us access. So, I think it's more important to show up as we are and then take that access for ourselves, because then we're coming at it from a confident place as opposed to I'm trying to fit in sort of space.
Preach. 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, we kick off the interview a little more in-depth with some of the topics I've brought in. And I want you to think about this and give me your answer on the other side, though, Maya, okay? Top 5 dead or alive, okay? The 5 worst members of the Republican Party. I want you to think about it and tell me on the other side. We're talking to Maya May, political commentator and comedian, Inside My Post 1-on-1, Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk about. Stay right there.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles. From middays to nighttime. Like George and Wheezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelenos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
Maytag month has got it going on. It's all you want with the savings all month long. Baby, can't you see? Maytag month is all you need. You know you can't go wrong when Maytag month is going on.
Upgrade to the performance you need on all Maytag major appliances during May is Maytag month, happening all month long.
Maytag month is going on.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingaroner, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Great. It's yours. See you then.
Nathan's Tiki-themed bar is swimming in end-of-year party bookings.
Where can I find that many servers? They want headlamps? And I'm going to need to find a band.
He needs caterers to navigate the rising tide.
No, Mario, not your cousin's cover band.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Real talk, real time, the gospel truth. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are also listening into my Post 101 with Miss Maya May, political commentator and comedian. I asked you about my top 5 dead or alive on the other side, and it's time for your answer, Queen. The 5 worst members of the Republican Party. Go. I think I'm going to agree, too, by the way.
Well, so I'm mad at you for saying dead or alive because that really opens it up. But I'm going to give you my quick list, and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
But dead or alive, but I have to go with Nixon and Barry Goldwater, Senator Goldwater,
straight up racist,
for popularizing straight up racist, but the Southern strategy, creative racism, inventing the dog whistle, taking that into modern politics. So I'm gonna have to go with those two. I'm going to go modern day Trump for eroding trust in everything, not just democracy, but in each other as citizens. Ron DeSantis, the fascist of Florida. You've seen my videos on him. That's 4 now. And then I want to do a combo, but I'm just going to say
whatever
Marjorie
you want to
Taylor
do. Go
Greene.
ahead. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, because the distraction, because she's the clown distraction that's got everybody paying attention to what she's doing instead of, which is, the purpose she serves in many ways. But, she's just pushing things so far to the right with her national divorce conversation, with her antagonizing trans people it's off the chain. So that's my list.
You mean to tell me that Kevin McCarthy did not make your list?
Kevin McCarthy didn't make my list because he's so much of a puppet that he's almost like a figurehead, and it's like he's not what he's doing. He's not doing on his own. So I can't. It's almost like he's just being, he's the enabler of everything that they're the Freedom Caucus and all of that. But he's not. No, he's not up there. He doesn't have that kind of power. It looks like he does, but he doesn't.
You think
he doesn't have real power.
You think he's going to finish out his term? What does it take? 15 times, 15 votes to actually get him in there. You think he's going to finish out his term, or is he going to be ousted before the end of the term?
Well, I think we're going to see with this debt ceiling negotiations, or I would say they're holding everybody hostage, holding the world economy hostage over this. I think a lot is going to be determined on how he handles his part of the negotiation. So if he's not going to get he's not going to get the concessions that the Freedom Caucus wants, I could very much see them booting him out.
Yeah, they're not going to agree to any of what he and Biden are sitting down talking about right now. They're not going to agree to anything because, like you said, the people on the far right, the Freedom Caucus and everything, they're going to say that's not far right enough. And they're trying to take away social programs with that new budget. So it's just not going to happen. Why do you feel that Kevin McCarthy is being dragged by his nostrils in whatever direction they want, knowing that it's only going to cost him his seat later? I'm confused.
Because, well, it was the only way he was going to be able to get his feet in the first place. And so he's caught between a bad decision and a bad decision. Like, he doesn't have any wiggle room whatsoever. And so I think he's just clinging to dear life, hoping that by holding the economy hostage, that perhaps Biden will make, which I hope he doesn't, make some decisions that will please the Freedom Caucus. And then he can say, look, I did what I had to do.
It's not going to be a walk in the park with the Democrats either, though. I mean, Biden ain't got no walk in the park with the blue either. I don't think this thing is going to go as easy as everybody thinks that it is. I think there's a few more steps we got to get through. And when is the deadline?
Well, June 1st is when we could technically default June 1st. Yeah. But that's not going to happen. Like, this is the thing. It's not going to happen. That's why it's so stressful, and they're putting everybody through the motions. But we can't drive our economy off the cliff. Everybody knows that. And so they can invoke like the 14th. There's so many things that they can do to keep it from happening. So I think us as average citizens need to be putting the pressure on and making sure that the narrative is understood that this is not Biden that is doing this. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, Biden's the president, so therefore Biden's the one who's responsible for whatever fallout may happen. But that's just not the case. When you have because there used to be some sort of idea of compromise and understanding in politics where you wanted to work together, and that's just not happening anymore. So he's in a very tough position.
We're talking to Maya May inside my Post 101, Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580. Before we officially get started on the multimedia topics tonight, did you want to give your thoughts on the life and legacy of Jim Brown before we continue?
I mean, I thought he was great, and I'm going to get you, sucker. I mean...
She said sucker, y'all, by the way, S-U-C. I had to listen twice.
If you haven't seen it, go back and watch. It's as funny now as it was when it came out.
It sounds as though you are ducking the question. Am I reading too closely into your answer?
Okay, here's the thing.
Come on.
No, I'll answer the question. He's problematic. What we can't change the past. We can't change heroes' actions of the past or what we've elevated in the past. But what we can do is present and moving forward, hold our heroes to a higher standard, hold ourselves to a higher standard, and have accountability. And so everyone's like, oh, well, and I think it was, I can't remember who tweeted out something about like, we're like willing to throw away all of the work he'd done in social justice. They're going to throw it all away simply because of his a past of abusing women. And she said yes. Just like that, plain and simple. Yeah. Yes. And I don't think it's as simple as that. But the fact of the matter is we do have people that we can look up to who aren't problematic. And so I think we need to be really careful because our kids are watching. Like, I always ask myself when someone asks me a question like this, I go, what would I want my child to emulate? If my kid is watching or listening, how do I want them to be, and how do I want them to, what do I want them to accept as behavior from important people in their lives? And so if I sit here and I say that Jim Brown, hero, we're not going to look too much at, especially now that he's gone, we're not going to talk about the more negative parts of his behavior. What message am I sending to the youth of right now? I'm saying, oh, okay, you can mess up again and again and again and again. And as long as you make yourself indispensable by being a social justice advocate, then we're going to look the other way. No, I can't do that.
I do want to be clear in stating that he was charged a number of times, and most of them, 90% of them, the charges were dropped, or he was acquitted.
Everybody was acquitted back then.
I'm just saying what the facts are. That's all I'm doing. You can take it wherever you want to take it. I just want to be clear in saying that the charges were dropped, or he was acquitted. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, OJ got off. I mean, like, and that was after the fact. So, I mean, like, I feel like...
She went OJ on him. Wow. Look, I said earlier in the broadcast, I am not going to get in the habit of canceling black people. I've canceled a number of black people in my time, R. Kelly being at the top of the list, and Bill Cosby was right behind him. And I told myself, I got to stop doing this. Is it not fair for me to say we got enough against us? A lot of the times we're not prepared of the fame and fortune that comes along with our talents, right? Should we not be graded on a curve sometime just because of that?
Oh, my Lord. No, you didn't say
I'm trying my best. Bill and R. Kelly, I'm trying my best.
This is like how they have the National Merit Scholar and then they have the National Achievement Scholars for the SATs, which always bothered me as a kid. So should we be graded on a curve? I don't believe – it's so funny.
I'm trying.
I don't believe that we should come from a place of judgment because, yes, generational trauma and what we have to live through day to day makes it much more difficult for us to exist in healthy ways. But that doesn't dismiss the fact that we need to try. So I don't believe in canceling anyone. Okay. I don't believe in canceling anyone because I think that growth is always possible. That's part of my optimism, right? So for me, I'm like, I don't want to cancel anybody, but I think I can acknowledge that somebody's problematic and needs to be, and that we need to address it as a community, and what growth looks like and what evolution looks like as a community. We can say that, and that's not canceling.
Very well said. I can get down with that. We're talking to Maya May inside my Post 101 Danny Morrison Show. All right, Maya. What I want to do with you tonight is what we did last time, present a few of the hottest trending social and political topics bubbling within the black zeitgeist this week. And I brought some corresponding media content to help us along the way. I believe your brand of brilliance is the perfect sounding board for these stories, and I also believe my audience will appreciate your perspective. Andy, let's fit this in before the bottom of the hour. Can we get it done? Our first story is about the clown who runs the Panhandle state who just might be jumping from the frying pan into the presidential fire. Mr. Ron DeSantis. Word is DeSantis' long-rumored announcement of a presidential run is imminent, and it'll make for a great battle between him and Toupee Fiasco going into the primaries. And for additional perspective, here's a young queen with more on the case. Listen.
Do you have friends and family who say that Ron DeSantis is good for business, that he'll make a great president? Well, you might want to give him a call right now and let them know that he just lost Florida a $1 billion investment, all because he wanted to fight with Disney. That's right. They're not going to open up the campus that they were originally going to open up. They're not going to add 2,000 jobs to the economy. And why? Because Ron DeSantis thought that a culture war is what the people of Florida needed. No. Hate, bigotry, it's not profitable. It's not sustainable. And he's on the verge of announcing his presidential run. I don't even know why, because there's no way he's going to be the GOP nominee, but he's going to go through with it anyway. Why? Because this man cannot read the room.
Now, Maya, I hear you, and I somewhat disagree. I believe if Ron DeSantis runs for president, he will be your next president of the United States. Yeah, Biden will trounce Donald Trump in the next election. But so what? So would any of us. I just believe that the youth and the energy of DeSantis would overtake Biden, especially during the debates, and Trump will be dropping out really soon anyway. I want you to tell me what you think on the other side. 1-800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. We're talking to political commentator Maya May inside my Post 101 Danny Morrison Show. KBLA Talk 1580. Here's your news and traffic. Check it out.
Nighttime is the right time for Danny Morrison on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. New York Governor Kathy Hochul and African-American New York City Mayor Eric Adams are urging the federal government to quickly authorize working papers for asylum seekers. Adams says right now an underground market has been created where migrants are being exploited and unable to pay taxes. Well, it's week 4 of the strike by Hollywood TV and film writers, and there's little sign of progress. Among their demands, the Writers Guild of America wants the big studios to offer more pay and commit to using humor humans and not artificial intelligence. And a new Pink Panther movie may soon be coming to a theater near you. Variety reports Eddie Murphy is taking part in negotiations to star as Inspector Clouseau in a new version of MGM's comedy mystery property. For the record, the Pink Panther refers to the name of a valuable diamond at the center of a jewel robbery. I'm Julius White on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Staples Print and Marketing Services help small business print big. Now get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends July 1st. Visit staples.com/printbig for details. This is your sign to try Staples, where your prints are perfect, guaranteed.
We begin top story with late breaking news.
Is it going to succeed, yes or no?
I think it's going to succeed. It's going to succeed.
Can you believe it?
Y'all did it!
KBLA Talk 1580 is about to celebrate its second anniversary on Juneteenth, and no terrible twos around here. We couldn't be more excited about all the good news we'll be announcing soon, including the launch of some new shows to keep giving you more of what you've been looking for.
Come on!
Smart radio for smart people. Hey, it's our celebration, but you get all the gifts. We'll be giving away fresh merch, swag bags, and a chance for you to join the private invitation-only, star-studded music and dance till you drop, food and drink galore second anniversary celebration. To stay in the know about the second anniversary details, download the KBLA Talk 1580 app right now. Don't miss out on your chance to be a winner. At KBLA Talk 1580, when we come forward, we're bringing everybody with us.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Your health is important, so keep yourself and your family covered with Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal renewals will be happening soon, so if you have Medi-Cal, make sure you don't miss any important renewal information. If you've moved in the last 3 years, check and update your mailing address, email address, and phone number. Learn more at keepmedicalcoverage.org. That's keepmedicalcoverage.org. Paid for by the California Department of Healthcare Services.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon for conversations that matter. Every day, I talk to influencers, content creators, trendsetters, change makers, and world beaters who are doing their part to make America a nation that will one day be as good as its promise. So be sure to join me, Tavis Smiley, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon as we curate smart conversations for smart people just like you.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I've been going silly for the west side. You might catch me rolling where the reps right. Ain't no opposition, I'm the best right. I might take my city on a test drive. You don't wanna see me on a good day. You don't wanna see me on a bad day. I was just up with some hoop dreams. Now I'm in the lead. Now I'm in the lead. I can slam dunk, but I just lay low. Smoking till I wake up. May not understand me cause it's sorry. And I don't really give a your view. Baby, I'm just trying to let my hair down. Baby, I'm just trying to let my hair down. Everybody's watching, I'm aware now. But I can't find a reason I should care now. Baby, I'm just trying to let my
You are checking out the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Inside my post one-on-one, Maya May, political commentator and comedian. I was making the case on the other side. I believe Ron DeSantis runs for president. He will be your next president of the United States. Biden will trounce Donald Trump in the next election, but nobody cares because any of us could. I believe that the youth and the energy of Ron DeSantis would overtake Biden. Am I crazy? Tell me why not?
Yeah, you're definitely crazy because you're trying to speak it into existence, and I will not have that on my watch.
You sound like Andy right now. Andy been saying that to me for months. I'm just saying.
Look, you remember this? Remember the sketch from the Chappelle Show when keeping it real goes wrong?
Yeah.
That's Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis right now is playing to the MAGA base, to the ultra right wing, and he's so insulated by his people that he doesn't realize that the rest of the country is watching him in horror, in shock. He is going to create the greatest, if he gets the nomination, which he will not, but if he does, he will, because there's plenty of people, and I hear this all the time from the MAGA folks, they like DeSantis, they just think it's not his turn. They want him to wait his turn. They want Trump to do what he needs to do, finish the job because he's delivered to them everything that they've basically wanted. And then DeSantis can come in after the fact because, in fact, he is still young.
Right.
And so, but as far as electability, neither of these knuckleheads are electable. I'm sorry. I'm not even actually worried about it. I'm worried about the trauma they create between now and then, and I'm worried about the reaction of the MAGA base to losing, because they are going to lose. So I'm just going to say that. That's my prediction.
Well, here's mine. I've been saying it for a few weeks here, and people get upset when I say it. I say that people say, why is Ron DeSantis even running? He would win easily in the next election. Why run this time? Trump is still there. Trump will be a little too old to run in the next one. I said because he is making the case right now and making a bet as well that Trump ain't going to be there. If you look at the official documents that's coming up real soon, they say that is a hard case on Trump. They're saying that he may not be able to get through that. He's feeling.
But so let's not forget, he can run from prison. There's nothing in our Constitution that says he cannot run from prison.
I'm saying this is DeSantis' mindset. He believes that Trump is not going to be there. He just believes it. So if he gets in now, notice whenever they ask him about Donald Trump, he never calls out Trump by name. He says things that Trump has done. He never says his name, no. I think it's intentional. He doesn't want to push away Trump supporters. But at the same time, he wants to say, I'm here to catch the win in 2024.
Well, you know what's interesting? He doesn't say his name. That's actually part of how Russia also does things. But like you don't name it. Like if you don't name your opponent, you don't give strength to your opponent. Right. So he's taking that page from that political playbook. But here's the thing: like DeSantis may be young, but but he lacks Riz, as the kids say, charisma.
Yeah.
There's no way. Gen Z has already gotten behind Biden because they know that Biden's the only person that's going to deliver the kind of America that they can survive in. So it's going to be a voter turnout situation. We're going to see they've had the highest voter turnout that we've ever seen from Gen Z, from young voters. And they're going to continue that even more so going into 2024. So I'm not worried.
I'm concerned, but I'm going to ride with you. We're talking to Maya May inside my Post 101 Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580. Let's get this next story in, and keeps us in the state of Florida, too. The NAACP has issued a travel advisory in Florida. The travel advisory has been issued due to what they are saying Governor Ron DeSantis' actions to erase black history and restrict diversity programs in schools. And for more information, local news is on the case. Listen.
Breaking tonight, the NAACP issuing a travel warning for the state of Florida. And this is all in response to what the group calls, quote, aggressive attempts by Governor Ron DeSantis to erase black history and to restrict diversity and inclusion programs in Florida schools. Earlier this year, DeSantis rejecting students' access to AP African American Studies in all Florida high schools. The formal travel notice states, Florida is openly hostile toward African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ+ individuals. Before traveling to Florida, please understand that the state of Florida devalues and marginalizes the contributions of and the challenges faced by African Americans and other communities of color. Other organizations representing marginalized groups in the state, including the Florida Immigrant Coalition and the LGBTQ Civil Rights Group, have also issued similar advisories.
Jimmy Butler needs to step it up, is all I'm saying down there. I'm just saying. However, as you heard, Maya, the advisory the advisory states
and you
that...
think this man's going to be president. You think this man is going to be president. The NAACP
I'm just
will
saying.
not have it.
The advisory states that Florida is openly hostile towards African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ+ individuals, and warns travelers to understand the state's devaluation and marginalization of these communities. What do you think? Is this 100% politically driven, or does the NAACP have a point? The floor is yours.
Most definitely has a point. I was just in Florida, and let me tell you, as far as feeling safe, not so much. And they're on the verge. Remember, this is all coinciding with permit-free guns,
That's
weapons.
crazy.
Really, in a stand your ground state where he's shown that he has absolutely no problem. He raised money. DeSantis raised money for the guy who strangled up in New York.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, do we feel safe in Florida? Absolutely not. Whether it's politically driven or not, politics is people. So yeah, it is politically driven, as well it should be, as everything that he is doing. And so it's important for our organizations to, because if the NAACP hadn't done this, it wouldn't be drawing as much attention to it. And it's really important to get our communities aware and active ahead of the game. Like, this is the way to be proactive so people know what they're getting into if they even for a minute think that this man would be okay in the Oval.
I know that you're saying that DeSantis can't be president, but I've seen the polls, and it's close. Yeah, Biden is ahead by, a couple points, percentage points, but at the same time, it's close. And I just think once those debates start, and people are looking at Biden on one side and DeSantis on the other, it's going to be about ageism more than anything. They're not going to want to vote for Biden, who's going to be stumbling with his words a little bit like he does from time to time. They're going to look at Ron DeSantis, going to be pretty confident in talking nonsense, but still talking with confidence.
So here's the problem. So DeSantis does do a good job in controlled environments and looking and sounding like a reasonable person. That's what's so sinister about his brand of fascism, is that he makes it sound reasonable. But when you see the results, and as long as Democratic strategists point to the results of what he's doing, but what are we seeing now? There is also I think truckers are getting together and saying, hey, we're going to boycott Florida.
Yeah.
You've got construction sites that are empty. You have fields that are not being harvested.
Yeah.
So you're looking at you got a state where they lost $1 billion investment. So when you start to point towards the actual results and look past the fact that he may sound reasonable on the surface, you get to the fact that he can't lead. We are an increasingly diverse country, and And DeSantis can't lead a diverse country, whereas Biden has shown that he's been able to evolve, he's been able to listen, he's been able to change, and that is what makes him a great leader. Yeah, he's a little bit older, but sometimes people do actually grow and evolve with age, and it makes him a great leader. Like, when in the world are we like, you know what, give me the more junior pilot. I want the pilot who's the snazzy, nobody wants that pilot. You want the pilot, he's like seasoned. And I'm sorry, if we had DeSantis piloting our country, I'm sorry, then that travel advisory would be for the whole country. And I already left the country once. I can't do it again.
Very well said. 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, I couldn't believe this story, but we got to talk about it. We're going to talk about a councilman and crack cocaine on the other side. Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580, in conversation inside my Pulse 101 with Maya May. Stay there.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles. From middays to nighttime. Like George and Wheezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580.
Reparations Task Force concludes its 15th meeting and votes on its final report, suggesting that upward of $800 billion is owed to Black Californians who are descendants of slaves. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. The 9-member task force finalized its recommendations for compensating Black Californians for state laws, policies, and practices that have disproportionately and negatively affected African Americans. The final report, which will be available to the public, is expected to be about 1,000 pages long. Among the recommendations made, the state of California should issue a formal apology for the perpetration of gross human rights violations and the genocide of Africans who were enslaved and their descendants. The implied admission of guilt should mitigate the harm historically inflicted on the Black community, according to members of the task force. U.S. Representative Barbara Lee says reparations are not a luxury for our people, but a human right long overdue for millions of Americans.
Calling all small business owners, entrepreneurs, and startups. Vermont Slauson Economic Development Corporation is your one-stop shop for the resources and tools you need to take your business to the next level. VSEDC is a community-based nonprofit and CDFI organization recognized for decades of technical and entrepreneurial assistance to South LA small businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs for 40 years. VSEDC provides training workshops and your very own business coach, and these services are all free. That's right, these services are free. Business coaches are standing by at their South LA Business Source Center or their Watts Business Source Center. Visit their website at vsedc.org or call them now at 323-752-2335. That's Vermont Slauson Economic Development Corporation at 323-753-2335.
Meet Joe A, Hi. Joe B, Hello. And Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Real talk, real time, the gospel truth. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
Man, I tell you what, Black Twitter's going crazy right now about LeBron James. Boy, they're saying he might retire. LeBron ain't going nowhere. He wants his son to be on the team with him. He ain't going nowhere. Calm down, y'all. Talking to Maya May inside my Post 101, Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580. You are a Laker fan, right? I want to get that right.
I am. I mean, I'm from Chicago, but I'm here, so okay. I'm a Lakers fan, and tonight hurt. And no, this can't be his last. This can't be his, he can't go out like this.
Nah, so. he ain't retiring. Stop it. Our next story proves that crack is whack. Yeah, we all assume that our dignitaries make decisions that appear to be drug-induced sometimes, but this councilman proved that the drug usage is also real. And ABC 7 Eyewitness News is on the case. Listen.
Councilman caught asleep behind the wheel with a crack pipe in his hand. This is in Rhode Island. A concerned passerby saw him and called police. Even officers seemed shocked by what they found.
You're a councilman in Cranston smoking crack with crack on you.
Crazy.
What do you think the constituents would say?
The councilman told them he had smoked crack earlier at his home after being clean for 13 years. He says he relapsed because of a bad divorce. Riley, who is an attorney, also resigned as chairman of the Cranston Republican Party.
Now, look, Maya, we've all been there. Not with the crack. Ain't been there.
I was going to say divorce.
I ain't been there now. Come on. But, I mean, in dire straits from a tragedy of some sort. But for an elected official to be smoking crack in a car in the middle of the day is insane. Or is it? Because Marion Barry is online, too. I'm just saying. It happens. What should happen with this councilman, in your opinion?
Well, look, first of all, addiction is an illness. So that being said,
yeah.
When he got caught, he first tried to blame it on sleep apnea. He said, oh, that was my sleep apnea. And they were like, oh, you're holding a crack pipe, sir. So I think this is not just addiction, but a lack of judgment and awareness. And we can't allow this. I mean, I know he resigned, but I think we do need to call out that the Republican Party does seem to be the party of criminality, and I don't see them screaming about this because if this had been a Democrat,
you got that
if
right.
this had been a black Democrat, we would be hearing about it all day, every day on Fox News, on OAN, nonstop for at least a week until they could find another scandal. So, yeah, it's got to go.
All right, we could talk about this for the next half hour, trust me, but I got to get to this last story because, I always bring you one that you could tee off on, and this is the one. This story, do you know about Pastor Jason Gruber of Spokane, Washington? He delivered. Do you know about this cat? He delivered from the pulpit some of the most vitriolic, aggressive, and downright dangerous language I've ever heard during a recent sermon. Listen.
That would have their child have a transgender surgery done on them. Any parent that would do that, they just need to be shot in the back of the head. They need to be convicted in trial and immediately shot in the back of the head.
Wow.
Okay? And then we can string them up above a bridge.
That's a pastor.
And so that the public can see the consequences of that kind of wickedness. And so there should be no excuse to not put these people to death. No excuse whatsoever. And go ahead and turn to Ephesians chapter number 4. And let me tell you, there are very, very few people out there in the world today that are actually fighting the spiritual fight. I want you to go ahead and find me another preacher in Spokane to preach the message where they said that these child molesters, that these child butchers, that these all the LGBTQ people that desire strange flesh, that they should all be put to death in a public execution by the government. Find me the preacher that says that. I want to see him.
Maya, I'm just going to shut up, get out the way, and hand the floor to you.
Well, I'm in hiding because it sounds like he's trying to rile up his followers to start shooting people in the back of the head.
That's exactly right.
As a mom of a trans kid, a thriving trans kid, I take issue not only with what he's saying, but the fact that I believe he is still walking around free.
Yep.
Now, there is something called stochastic terrorism, which is, when we just talk about violence. We just state the violence. Now, when you have an unstable person with access to a gun who hears that and then says, oh, well, that's a pastor, that's the word of God, and then goes and shoots somebody, right? Then all of a sudden that pastor can go, well, these were just words. I was just saying this. I didn't actually, I didn't do anything. And so that's what I want people to understand is this is the kind of fear and violent rhetoric that is being directed towards people who are just trying to raise their kids. Like, we are literally just trying to raise our kids to be healthy and happy citizens of the U.S., just like everyone else. And we're dealing with a world, I mean, it's crazy. And, like, I try not to allow that kind of stuff to affect me because I know that it's being said left and right all over the place, and you have politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene who are echoing similar things and spreading disinformation. And I wrote a long Twitter thread on this today. I was on the elliptical. It started off as one tweet. An hour later, it was like 6 paragraphs.
Yeah, you're good at that. You're very, very good on Twitter.
I had gone in because there's a level of arrogance in this assumption that they know better than the doctors, the parents, and the kids themselves on how they should live their lives. And that's not freedom, that's not liberty. And we do not live in a Christo-fascist ethno-state, even though that is what this pastor clearly wants, right? And so I think it just goes to show, like, this is where we're at, and only by speaking up and saying this is not okay, and that means everybody speaking up, because there is no world, I don't care what your beliefs are and where you're at on the political spectrum, there is no world where somebody who claims to be a man of God should be able to get up in a tax-free situation and spread hate and violence and basically invoke violence. No. That's like a red flag for our society.
I got a couple minutes here left, but I got to tell you, just some of the conversations I've heard in some of the circles that I frequent, I got to tell you, this is one of those issues to where it seems like the black community is in lockstep with the Republican Party. I hear them parroting the same comments that you hear from that pastor that we just heard from. And they always throw the Holy Bible in my face when they talk about it as well. Does it concern you that even the black community is turning against the trans population, at least from my standpoint?
Absolutely, it concerns me. Now, there are plenty of allies in our community as well, so I think it's important to note that's the case. And when there is disinformation and when it's being weaponized by the Republican Party, people are, everything you see is like, oh, mutilating. They're mutilating children. Well, Of course, who wouldn't be against the mutilation of children? And so it's a battle of words and language, and the right is very good at saying, like, oh, this goes against God. These are people who are trying to be God by changing their. Slow down, back up. And I think what really needs to happen is more awareness, more humility, more education, and more staying out of people's business. Like, when it comes down to it, people need to mind their own business in America. So while the rhetoric within our own community may not be as supportive as it needs to be, we can get there. But in order to get there, we need to go back to the basics. Mind your business.
Yeah, very well said. So how can people get in contact with you? How can they get involved? Give them the socials, the website, or otherwise.
Yes, I am Maya on stage on all platforms, leveraging comedy to change the way we approach problem solving. I'm going to be doing a TikTok live tomorrow with Devin Murphy Anderson. She's the co-founder of Me Vecino, which is a Florida-based organization. We're going to be talking all things Florida. So if you're on TikTok, find me on there, Maya on stage, because we're gonna be going in on DeSantis and everything else going on there.
And you know how much I love you. Thank you for keeping your promise. You said you were going to come on monthly, and you are keeping your promise thus far. So I appreciate you, Queen.
I appreciate you having me.
All right. I'll be in contact, okay?
All right.
Bye. News and traffic right now. When we come forward, we got Mo's show to go. It's the Danny Mo Show, KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk about. Stay there.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. New York Governor Kathy Hochul and African-American New York City Mayor Eric Adams are urging the federal government to quickly authorize working papers for asylum seekers. Adams says right now an underground market has been created where migrants are being exploited and unable to pay taxes. Well, it's week 4 of the strike by Hollywood TV and film writers, and there's little sign of progress. Among